Hello, I'm certified financial planner Wes Cuprill, and this is Wealth Wise Women, the show that's rewriting the narrative that personal finance and investing are just for men and just for insiders. Because whether or not the rest of my industry realizes it, the future of wealth in the United States is female, and I aim to foster that future one episode at a time. So, join me every week as I attempt to add humor and entertainment to the otherwise snooze fest that is personal finance, addressing various topics along the way from the lens of how they affect women in particular. And if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe to our channel and our newsletter, the link to which you can find on the screen or in the details below. That being said, let's get to this week's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Wealth Wise Women podcast. I'm filming today's episode on Monday, March 10th. So when this episode comes out, it will be Thursday, March 13th. And there's certainly a chance that I may have to put out a rebuttal to what I'm about to discuss in today's episode. But I want to focus on some things that are probably on people's minds this week. One of those being the Trump tariff situation, and then the overall economy at large. Now, today, March 10th, it is about 2 p.m. There is a heavy sell-off happening on the stock market. There are a lot of fears and concerns going around. I'm wanting to address this from the psychology perspective because this is something that very often happens. Ups and downs are something that we try and educate are natural. Unfortunately, the market does react very quickly to different changes in the news. And with everything being negative, investors are selling as a way to maybe try and hedge their losses given the uncertainty of everything going on. And it can be very, very easy to get caught up in the negative side of things and think, oh boy, the economy is about to crash. We have a 2008 on our hands. I don't think that there is any reason for that level of concern. And again, while there might be concern that the near term could be difficult, I don't think it's any reason to look at the long term as also being very negative. Again, this might sound very self-serving. Oh, the financial advisor is the one saying, oh, everything's okay. Yeah, it is, because we've lived through this for so long. Recessions are definitely a very normal thing to happen in an economy. Everything goes up and down. There's natural cycles to it. The biggest thing to remember is that if you have a good, strong financial plan in place, it is built to withstand possible downturns in the short term. Your financial plan is designed to weather all of this storm that might be brewing, whether or not it actually is. So while it might be easy to say, okay, now is the perfect time to completely get out of the market and wait, we don't know when the market's going to bottom out. And we don't know that maybe next week it could recover 10%. Maybe 6 months from now, we'll look at that and go, okay, well, that was just a minor blip on the radar. I mean, let's think back all the way to 2020 when the COVID lockdowns started happening. The stock market tanked. But then just as quickly, it skyrocketed. And if you weren't ready for that very quick upswing because you thought this was going to be a drawn out recession, you missed the mark and likely lost out on a lot of gains in the long term. So this is one of those situations where, again, we say we have worked to build your plan to withstand this. And it goes back to a conversation I often talk about where we talk about the math of retirement. Hans and Franz is one example that we use. So if you're a client of ours, you've probably heard Hans and Franz. If you've been to one of our events, we talk about Laverne and Shirley. And what we show is that even if you're in a conservative portfolio that has some ups and downs, at the end of 10 years, even after taking withdrawals from your account, you can have more money than when you started. That's because we know that some years are going to be up, some are going to be down. It's all about designing your portfolio to withstand volatility. Now, if you are younger, nowhere near retirement, stable income and job and whatnot, and have a good enough emergency savings, you shouldn't be concerned at all. Ultimately, this is going to happen. And one of the things that I would tell you is if you have extra cash that you can do without, put it into the market now. Take advantage of these short-term, cheaper priced stocks. If you are nearing retirement or in retirement and you have a financial plan put into place, you're still okay. You are likely allocated in a way that is protected from a lot of the downturns. So while the S&P could go down, say 20%, your portfolio may only go down 5%, which is not as drastic of a drop and as consequential to your overall retirement. Hey there, before we get to the rest of the episode, I wanted to take a quick second to tell you about the Wealth Wise Women newsletter. I'll be the first to admit there is no shortage of financial publications out there, and there's definitely no shortage of free information and financial advice that you can find on the internet. But in my opinion, a lot of it misses the mark. It's either incredibly dry, or it's full of industry jargon, or it just simply isn't geared towards women. That's why I decided to start the Wealth Wise Women newsletter, to provide a source of information that is geared towards women. It's easy to understand without all of the industry jargon, and above all, it's what I like to call infotaining. And best of all, it's free. To subscribe, simply go to mcwealthwisewomen.substack.com and enter your email. That's it. Again, that is mcwealthwisewomen.substack.com. All right, let's get back to the episode. If you don't have a plan in place where you've kind of just been managing things and putting things in various mutual funds, not really thinking about how it affects your overall retirement, now might be the time to go ahead and look at it and go, are you properly allocated? One of the things we always do with somebody who's a new client is we put their current portfolio through what we call an MRI, and it gives us a sense of the historical return that that portfolio mix has seen, as well as the volatility that it has experienced. And if there's somebody who's coming to us with, say a standard deviation, that's the measure of volatility, of 18, and they're 65 and looking to retire, we're going to recommend that they drastically lower that volatility by changing the overall mix of their portfolio. But that's something that you can do with the proper analysis, is take a look at the overall volatility you're exposed to and say, does this make sense for where I currently am in life? If it doesn't, then what are the changes we need to make to be able to look at a downturn in the market and go, that's okay. My portfolio is built for this. I can suffer some short-term losses knowing that in the long term, I'm still financially okay. Because again, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is help clients answer the question of, will I be okay, with an emphatic yes. We are trying to give them peace of mind knowing there's a very, very, very small chance that they will outlive their money. So you can go ahead and continue your day-to-day life in retirement without worrying about the overall health of your portfolio. So if this is something you want to talk about, feel free to email me, Wes Cuprill at moneyandclarity.com, or go to visitwithmc.com. I would love to sit down, get a sense of what your concerns are. What are your fears? And then answer the questions that you might have about your portfolio and see if we might be able to help you build a stronger portfolio that is more resilient on weeks like this. That being said, hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.